Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2025 Prestige Global Meeting Sources Education Webinar Series. My name is Sasha Andreev. I'm going to be your host once again as we explore today's topic, leveling up communication and negotiation skills with improvisation. Now, if you've attended a previous webinar, we welcome you back. And if this is your first time here, we are very glad to have you. Now, over the past few months, we've covered a variety of topics in this webinar series, from personal well-being to cruise ship contracting to networking. It's part of our mission to empower our clients. We at Prestige have a rich history of offering comprehensive support for event planners, everything from site selection to full event services. We leverage our global network of hospitality resources to benefit our clients. And our commitment to you is integral to our success. And since part of your success is to stay informed and inspired, we have been reaching out to our industry friends to share their expertise on the various aspects that affect your professional and sometimes personal lives. And so we're going to chat with one of those friends today. I would like to welcome to your screen one of our very exciting guests, and that is Matthew Moore. Welcome, Matthew. Before I let you get going, I'm going to actually toot your horn just a little bit. So Matthew has studied and performed improv since 1995 in Los Angeles and around the nation, including Caroline's on Broadway and Gotham Comedy Club in New York. In 2008, he founded Improv for the People, or IFTP, which is an LA-based improvisation studio specializing in corporate training. Matthew has led workshops for businesses large and small, including Fairmont Hotels and Resorts, Kaiser Permanente, Google, Snapchat, Yahoo, USC, and more. And with a deep-rooted passion for service stemming from his extensive experience in the hotel industry for over 20 years, which includes a degree in hospitality administration from Purdue University, Matthew has a genuine commitment to bringing teams together using the fundamentals of improvisation to achieve a shared objective. Did I miss anything, Matthew?
I tell you what, Sasha, after all that, this better go well because that sounded really good.
Thank you. I took it from your website, so
Okay, good.
it's all in your words.
Yeah.
A couple questions for you. You started out in the hospitality industry. You studied it. How did you get into improv?
Yeah. So I was in the hotel business for over 20 years. First of all, thank you, Sasha, for bringing me on. And I'm also an actor and comedian. So I found myself running to comedy shows, when I wasn't at the hotel, and I just fell in love with the art form of improv and started taking classes a million years ago, and was finding that I was using the elements of good improvisation. Three, not to jump the gun here, but three of them that we're going to look at today, using the elements of improvisation to engage not only with my colleagues, but also certainly with guests. And it was pretty effective. So, it was about that time where I realized, this thing of improv is not just helpful for actors. It certainly is. But it has a home in corporate America. It can affect our personal lives in a positive way. So about 17 years ago, we started Improv for the People. We have our share of actors in the studio, but we have everybody there for just that reason, to study the elements and fundamentals of improv to enhance communication skills and engagement and all that good stuff.
So it sounds like a lot of people can benefit from improv, and this is what we're going to learn a little bit today. What else can our attendees expect from today's presentation?
Yeah. So hello, everybody. Good. I was going to say good morning, but I don't know where you are. So happy Thursday. We'll put it there. I'm in Los Angeles, where it is rainy and cold. Yes, we are going to look at three fundamentals and elements of improvisation that will help us be better communicators. I don't want to say too much because I'm going to open it up in a moment to the chat. I want you all to throw in a chat because I'm going to ask you a question. But the goal, Sasha, to answer your question is, when we're done in our power hour here, a little less than a power hour, the hope is that we walk away with a couple communication elements that we didn't know before that can help us in communication, negotiation, collaboration. and or we hone communication skills that we already know. I already know everybody here is a good communicator. You would not be in the position you are in your careers if you weren't. But let's take a few minutes this morning or today to hone up some skills that we may already know and maybe learn something in the process.
Awesome. Well, before we all hone, I want to give everyone a little note. If you have questions during Matthew's presentation, there's a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen for you to use. That way that question is saved for us to address after the presentation. So message us and we'll address as many of them as we can. But you also have a chat function open at this time around because Matthew will be utilizing suggestions throughout the presentation. So use the chat function for suggestions, use the Q&A if you remember to ask your questions, and we'll ask you for those at the end of the show as well. This presentation is also being recorded, and thankfully will start after I unmuted myself. So everyone will see and hear what I've said, and you can find the presentation on the Prestige Global Meeting Sources YouTube channel, so you can reference it later or share it with colleagues who weren't able to make it today. Matthew, I'm very excited to see what you have to share with us, and I know that I am your first guinea pig, so take it away.
Ooh, yes, you are my first voluntold. I learned that phrase from Tracy. Yes, so we're going to look at our very first improv fundamental that I hope we can take home and use in your careers and maybe in your personal lives. I know that many of you know the concept of yes and. I know that you know that's a common foundation of improvisation. We're going to spend a second with yes and. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'm not going to set it up too much because I'd like to talk about it afterwards. Sasha and I are going to do a yes and exercise. And what's going to happen is I will have the first line of the scene. Okay, Sasha, thank you for volunteering. You will then have the second line. I would like your line to start with the two words, yes and, okay? And then finish your statement. Yes anding off of what I have said. Okay, so that's going to nudge you to be a really good listener. Then I'm going to say yes and to what you said. That's going to nudge me to be a good listener. Then yes and, yes and, yes and. Every line begins with the two words yes and, okay, except for the first line.
Okay.
So, by the way, if you volunteer today, you have my complete permission to fail miserably. Let's just fail, okay? You can absolutely fail. And in that mindset, we're going to get some good things today. Okay. So what I need from everyone who's watching, Sasha and I are not Matt and Sasha anymore. We're two different characters and we're meeting today. Where are the two of us meeting? Put it in the chat, please. Anywhere, like on a park bench, at a restaurant. Please put it in the chat. Go right now. Put it in the chat. Where are the two of us meeting? And then I will pick one. Oh, I love it. Great. Good. Keep going. Beautiful. Good. You guys are on fire today. Motorcycle rally. That's great. Improv class. Yes. Story of my life. Oh, the DMV. Okay, you can stop chatting because once we get the DMV, you know, we're good with that. So thank you for those suggestions. You can stop chatting. Sasha, you and I, our characters are at the DMV.
Okay.
Don't get too excited about that. And something is going on between the two of us at the DMV. I want everyone to watch Sasha and Matt and see how we engage with the concept of yes and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, so I have the first line. Man, this DMV is really busy today.
Yes, and it kind of smells too.
Yes, and we should have gone to the DMV on the nice side of town.
Yes, and I heard it gets really busy around this time as well.
Yes, and that's what we get when we have to renew our driver's license to become an organ donor.
Yes, and I have a lot of organs to give.
Yes, and I know that about you since ever since we've been best friends for years. You are such a generous person, even with your organs.
Yes, and you know that I have an extra kidney and an extra liver because of my mutation.
Yes, and after the DMV, I'm dropping you off at the Guinness Book of World Record office.
Yes, and I hope you actually get your license today with this line in front of us.
Yes, and oh, they just called my number.
Yes, and they did not call mine.
Yes. And I guess you'll be here for a long time because I'm not taking you anymore to the Guinness Book because I'm going to go have lunch.
Yes, and I assumed you were a good friend, and I've realized that you are not.
Okay, we're going to stop there. When I say blackout, that just means we're done. So blackout. Thank you, Sasha. Clap at home. Clap in your office. We need clapping. Um, okay, that was that. Look at all the likes. Yeah, I love the claps. Thank you for those. That was super fun. Okay, Sasha, I have some ideas and thoughts about it. Any initial thoughts from you about the concept of yes and or anything about that?
Well, even though I'm familiar with the idea, it's hard sometimes when you want to actually respond with a negative, but you
Yeah.
you still have to start with a positive. So you almost find yourself like creating a roadmap to utilizing the negative, I guess.
Yeah.
But still affirming what you said before.
So I love what you just said. Okay. First of all, let's talk about that. Yes and does not mean yes, I agree with my communication partner, whether it's your client, whether it's your coworker, whoever the person is. It doesn't mean I agree with you and this is what I want to add. Okay. Some people think that. It's I agree, I hear you, and this is what I'd like to add, whether I agree with you or not. Okay, I hear you. That's the yes part. If we agree, easy. If we have a difference of opinion, that's where yes and can be very valuable because I hear you, and this is what I'd like to add. A lot of times, conflict and communications begins when one person doesn't feel heard. And when somebody does not feel heard or listened to in conversation, now we have a potential of a conflict. Okay. But when the other person feels heard, oh, we may have a difference of opinion, but at least my partner heard me and acknowledged me. Sort of like at the end of our exercise, I decided not to take you to the Guinness Book office because because you hadn't gotten your license yet and you were wrapped up there. So instead of me making that a negative, I said, you know what? I hope you get your license, but I'm going to head on out. Just a little something for us to think about. Okay. I would say that if we learn anything in an improv training, the concept of yes and is a top one. Okay. So um, there's that. Now, if you everyone on the Zoom on the meeting today, if you have thoughts or questions, like Sasha said earlier, throw it in the Q&A. If we have time, we'll catch it at the end. Okay, but that was excellent, Sasha. Anything else from you on the concept of yes and?
No, it's interesting because I think this is very useful both in probably a business communication setting as well as a personal communication setting, perhaps with a spouse where they're not feeling heard. It's a good way to start.
Does that happen?
No, I mean, yes, and it does happen.
Good, great, yeah. That's awesome. So excellent, yes anding. That is exercise number one for us today. Prestige is the concept of yes and. We're going to build on that. Okay. Everyone in the group today, I'd like you to think about what are the elements that make for good communication? Okay, because I want to hear from you. Elements that make for good communication. And I want you to put it in the chat. Just throw it in the chat. Let's all look at our chats. Yeah, good. Listening, great. What are some others? Eye contact, excellent. Keep going. Emotional intelligence, body language, yes, good. Leaning in. I want to spend an hour with each of these answers with you guys. This is excellent. Being fully present, great. Keep going. Active listening, just not listening to respond, listening to understand. Giving feedback to make sure there's clarity and understanding. Yeah, the need to, Sona, excellent. The need to always be right, not, right? Be willing to learn and curiosity, excellent. Let the other person stop talking before you. This is so good, you guys. Okay, so thank you for that chat. We can stop chatting right now. Unless you'd like to continue, we can look at those as we move forward. The element of what that means is really helps us be engaged and connected. A couple of your colleagues said being connected, being present to one another. That's what this next exercise does. Okay. So for our next, for the what that means is exercise, let's bring up Karen and Amanda. Come on up, Karen and Amanda. Great. Oh, there they are.
Hi.
Oh, excellent. You were there the whole time. Okay, good. All right, ladies. So thank you for volunteering. I know I just pulled you up here. So what we're going to do is, in a moment, we're going to have our participants at home chat in their suggestion of what your relationship is, okay? So don't chat yet, but get ready to chat what their relationship is. And this is how it's going to work. Amanda, we're going to start with you. And you're going to have the first line of this exercise, okay? And for the first line, just like in Yes and, you can say whatever you want to your to Karen's character, okay? So just a statement like it's really sunny today. And then Karen, you're going to start your line with the words, what that means is, and then complete your thought. So you really have to be locked in with Amanda before you can add what you'd like to add. Amanda, after that, you're going to say what that means is, and then add what you'd like to add. What that means is, so on and so forth. Okay, so good. Let's everybody else, let's chat in the chat. Their relationship, are they sisters? Are they neighbors? Go. Let's see what we get here. Okay, good. Friends, best friends, sisters, best friends, bus driver and rider. Yeah, that's great. Personal trainer. Yes, good. Good. Keep them coming. Neighbor, great. Co-workers. Yeah, we might. Yeah, restaurant worker and the diner. Yeah, I love all these. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take let's do this. Let's say that, thank you. We can stop chatting. Those are awesome. Let's say you both are commuting to work, okay? And you both take the same bus to work every morning, and you kind of know each other because you see each other every day. All right, so let's do that. So Amanda, you're gonna start, and then what that means is, what that means is, what that means is. Okay, ready, begin.
Karen, I really wish that our commute wasn't that long.
What that means is we always pack snacks.
What that means is that maybe we could start, it would be great if we would be able to start work a little bit later.
What that means is then we wouldn't have to get up so early and get to the bus stop.
Yes. But what that means is then we would get home later and it'll be dark.
And what that means is I'll be eating at 8 o'clock at night, and that's really bad for my waistline.
What that means is that maybe we would be a happy medium of maybe it would be great if we would be able to work maybe half the week at home.
What that means is we would definitely have more free time and save so much of that time commuting and get more work done and be able to service our clients.
Great. I'm going to stop you there. That was all. We're going to clap. Everybody clap at home. That was really well done. Plus, you did something a little extra in that you had, you both had issues with the timing of the bus and what time you had to get to work, and it wasn't fitting your schedule. And I like that you use what that means is to come up with some ideas of how maybe you can change your schedule for the day. I guess you'll have to talk to the bus company and see if they'll change their schedule. But anyway, it was really, really fun. I have a couple thoughts, but I want to talk to the two of you first. Okay, Amanda, how was that?
I thought it was good. It gave me pause and time to really reflect on what Karen was saying, whether I agreed or not. Yeah, it gave me a little bit of time to really take in what she was saying.
Yeah, I noticed that with your good listening, your good active listening was going on. I noticed that in Karen too. Karen, how was that?
Yeah, same. It definitely makes you stop and think and try not to judge what the other person is saying. Just try to take in the information and then build upon it.
Excellent. Yeah, great. I like that comment about not being so quick to judge, right? Both of you were, I hope everybody saw this that's watching. I love how both of you really took your time with this and you're very considerate with how you listened before you responded. And that's the value of what that means is. If we have that in our mindset, what that means is, we're going to be really locked in and, just good listeners and good collaborators. That was excellent. I think we should clap for you two one more time. Let's just do it.
Aw. Thank you.
Good. I also like your diet, your health tip, Karen, about not eating after 8 p.m. So
Yes.
that has nothing to do with good listening, but it's a great health tip. Okay, so all right, you guys, Amanda, Karen, thank you so much. We are going to move on now to level 3. We're going to level up some more, if you can believe it, and we're going to work on a concept called repeat add. And to do that, we're going to let's bring up Marshall and Ashley. Marshall and Ashley, come on up. Look, hello, Ashley.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Okay.
A little nervous now after the first 2 went, but
You
let's
are?
do this. Yeah.
Is that because you want to? Are you a type A, Ashley? You want to get everything just right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Marshall, how you doing?
I'm good, Matt. Yourself? Good to see you.
I'm great. It's good to see you as well. Thank you for popping up with me. Okay, so we've looked at yes and, we've practiced yes and, we've discussed yes and. We've looked at what that means is, we've practiced what that means is, and we've debriefed what that means is. Now we're ready for the next one. Our third one is called repeat add. Repeat add. Okay, so in this improv exercise, the improviser, which by the way you all are now, you're all improvisers, you will, let's say Marshall has the first line. I'm going to ask for suggestions. It's going to be a different suggestion than what we've had before. So everyone get ready to chat in a moment. We'll get your suggestion, and then let's say Marshall has the first line. And then Ashley, you are going to repeat a little bit of what Marshall just said before you continue with your what you'd like to add, okay? Does not need to be word for word. So if Marshall says something like, oh, it's a sunny day today, you don't need to say it's a sunny day today. Boy, the sun is out, because that's a little weird. That's odd. That's odd. But it's a sunny day today. Oh gosh, it sure is. The sun is beautiful. I love it. I'm heading to the beach. You repeat it a little bit so Marshall knows you heard what he said. And then Marshall's going to repeat a little bit of what you said, Ashley, before he moves forward. Okay. Marshall, you good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Ashley, you good with that?
Yep.
Excellent. All right, guys, let's set them up for success. Okay. So let's have in the chat, if you don't mind. Yes, these two are friends and they are at odds with each other. They're something is concerning the two in their friendship. Something's a little tough right now. So what's the scenario? Like they're fighting over someone owes somebody money. What is it? What are they arguing about? Let go my ego. Yeah, good. Good. This one's a little bit more the setup's a little bit more in depth. Yeah, good. You didn't invite me to your party. I don't know who you people are, but I want to party with all of you because you are so fun. Okay. Where to go for dinner? Yeah, you just lost a lead. Oh, that sounds not good. Yeah, these are great. These are great. Okay, I think we have the one we want. Karen, you win. One of you didn't invite the other person to his or her party. Okay. Yes. And Marshall, we're gonna have you start. And Ashley, you're gonna repeat a little bit enough that Marshall knows you heard him. Marshall, you're gonna repeat a little bit what Ashley offered, enough that she knows you heard her before you move on. Okay. And one of you didn't invite the other person to their party. All right. Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Ashley. Listen, I'm sorry that you didn't get the invite to the party.
So you're sorry that I didn't get the invite to the party. Did it get lost, or was I not invited?
Yeah, about that. It didn't get lost. After speaking with a couple of folks, we decided Maybe this one you just didn't come to.
So the invite didn't get lost. It just wasn't created because you and some other people didn't want me there.
No, the invitation was created. We just didn't send it to you.
Okay, so you chose to not send me an invitation because someone else told you not to?
Yeah, it's kind of complicated. You are correct. We did choose to not send you an invitation, but truthfully, no one else told us not to. It was a group decision.
So it was a group decision to not send me an invitation to the party. But you're not telling me specifically why. Is there something more I need to know?
The only thing else I probably should tell you is that your husband made it to the event.
Oh no.
So I wasn't invited, but my husband made it to the event. You did say it's complicated. Oh no.
Okay, we're gonna stop. Let's stop there. Actually. Stop there. Let's clap for him. Yeah, that was really, really, first of all, well done, but also very funny. One of your friends, I saw a little bit of a chat say, "Well, that friendship is over." Which I thought was I'm interested to know, Marshall, any thoughts? How was that for you?
It was definitely a little bit hard to try to stay on task to think about repeating because you had to listen. And then, as we've been taught, you don't want to prepare your response till you've heard fully what the person said. So, again, trying to capture the words that are being said before I say, okay, how do I want to respond to her?
Yeah, good. That's exactly what all these exercises, particularly repeat add, does for us. I have a couple other thoughts. I'll share it in a moment. I want to talk to Ashley. Ashley, well done. How was that for you?
Good. I think I agree with Marshall there, and I have a tendency to kind of blurt sometimes and maybe not always be listening because I'm thinking to what's next. And so I appreciated that because I really did have to think, what is Marshall saying?
Yeah,
And so that I could remember it to repeat it and then think more about what else I might want to add.
good. Yeah, yeah, you did very well with that. I also love that you were putting him on this. I mean, you were drilling down like, why was I invited to this party? I think it was horrible that you said what your husband was, but you weren't.
That was a good twist.
I wanted to set this up one up with kind of with a negative angle, because as humans we have difficult conversations to have at times, right? And this one was, you weren't, why are these two friends in conflict? And one of your colleagues said you weren't invited to the party. So I just want to see how the two of you would handle kind of a negative communication situation. um, my observation was it was a little contentious, but it never really blew out of proportion because the two of you felt listened to. Poor grammar, but you get what I'm saying. You felt heard. I'll put it that way. Marshall, was that your experience?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Ashley, was that your experience, that at least you felt heard?
Yeah, I think so. It did work good without just escalating quickly or getting defensive. You really had to listen and try to understand all the way.
Yeah, good. Next time you have a party, you're going to invite Marshall or not?
Oh, for sure.
Marshall, doesn't that make you feel bad?
He was honest,
No, it wasn't my decision. I just told you that. I had to protect the innocent. But no, I definitely think this can be applicable to some of the things when we're dealing with, whether it's a client or a hotel. I can certainly see how these three things that you've given us thus far can help lead the conversations.
Good. Yeah. Thanks for saying that, Marshall. It's again, it's fun and lighthearted, no consequence stuff here today. But my hope is that we can leave today with some of these concepts that we can really put to good use. When it can be the difference between getting a contract signed and not. When a client feels unheard, they may go elsewhere. So there is some real value to these concepts. I'm going to ask Sasha. Thank you, Ashley and Marshall. Thank you so much for popping up here with me and with us. Sasha, are you around?
I am.
Sasha, what do you think? Do we have time for one more, or should we go into the? I haven't even looked at the Q&A and stuff. What do you think?
Well, I would love to sort of have you pose some of the questions that you were talking about to all our attendees and maybe start the discussion a little bit in the final few minutes.
Great, that's perfect. So, and should we do that in the chat or the Q&A, Sasha?
You know what? Since we are now through the exercises, people can use the chat to ask their questions, and we'll monitor that. How about that?
Excellent. So I'm actually going to let you monitor the questions. That way I'm not swayed, because I'll pick my favorites. So I'll let you monitor that, but I'm going to ask the question. Okay. So first of all, thank you, all of you. Your time is valuable. I know and respect that so much that you took an hour out to be with us. And Prestige, thank you all for bringing me in, Tracy and the gang. It's been really, really nice to be with all of you. I've worked with Prestige over the years, and I always have a really good time with you guys. So here's my question. You put in the chat. What did we learn today? What skill did we learn? What can we brush up? What can we hone? What's brand new? Anything, just put in the chat. And we'll see if we get any questions for me. Put it in the chat. And how do you think we can use improv, these 3 improv techniques? Marshall mentioned it a little bit in our professional setting. Let me turn my chat on.
All right, people are saying listening better to each other, actually hearing what's being said can direct how you reply, and then listening to the conversation before responding, and it's a good reminder to slow down, which are all things I'm also planting in my own head. Listening and exploring the answer before blurting out. Seems like everyone has similar impulses, so we're all in the same boat here. In my case, Sylvia says, slowing down before answering. And a question came in, how do we encourage the use of these techniques? Do we state it before the conversation? And just to build on that for my own sake, is that something that you bring into the meeting just for yourself, or do you actually establish it as the ground rules in that meeting?
Yeah, that's awesome. Listen, if you can establish some communication ground rules before particularly an important meeting, particularly in a meeting or a negotiation that has some potential stress or differences of opinion, it might be a nice thing to say, hey, listen, before we jump into this, let's remind ourselves to slow down, really listen to each other before we respond. No knee-jerk reaction responses. If you want to drill down even a little bit more and talk about the concept of what that means is, or yes, and this improviser would be thrilled with that. I don't know if that's, if that's feasible or doable in your setting, but boy, I think listen, if it were up to me, I'd have your team do these exercises before you go into a meeting. I'm kind of not joking about that. Logistically, I understand that that's not always possible, but yeah, if you want to lay some ground rules, I think that's a great idea.
Another question came in, can these techniques be utilized via email?
So that's a great comment. There's a study called the Morabian Study on Communications. All right, and some of you may know that it was done in the 1960s by Professor Morabian at UCLA, and it's a worldwide, still respected study on communication. Why do I say that? Because it's an answer to the email question. In the 60s, when this study was published, Morabian broke down successful communication into 3 sections. The words that we choose, that's one section. The tone that we use when we communicate, that's another section. And our body language, or as he puts it, the visual component of communication, that's another section, okay? I would ask what you think is the biggest section, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to share it with everybody. According to this Morabian study, 55% of communication is physical, it's body language. 55, that's a chunk. That's a big chunk. 37% of communication is tone. So that's also a chunk, right? Body language and tone. Only 7% are the words, which I think is fascinating. So that was in the 1960s. Well, what do we have now? Okay. We have email, we have texts. You ever get a text from a friend and you're like, are they mad at me? And then when you talk to them, they're like, I'm not mad at you. I'm fine. Most of my friends are always mad at me, but your friends probably are. So be mindful of texting and emails that we just have the words. I know emojis and emoticons, they can be helpful as well. Just glance at an email or a text one more time before you send it, just to make sure it's coming across in the tone that it was intended. So there's something to think about.
That's very interesting. And we read text emails through our own mood. That's very true, Don. Leslie also said, always show your intention of listening, when in person at least, by utilizing the lean in technique, nodding, eye contact, overall body language. But you do bring up an interesting point that in this digital age where body language is often gone in a lot of our exchanges, of you being very, very intentional with words, because words in those situations, I assume, have a lot more meaning.
Yeah. It's true. And even starting an email with a text, as silly as it might sound, with a good morning, or just checking in, how are you doing, and then getting to the meat of the matter, because they don't, like you said, Sasha, that you don't know where they are or what mood they're in or what they're dealing with. And if you just go right in for it, it may land in a place where you didn't intend for it to land. Yeah, I do like the lean in and just showing that you're present to another person. Eye contact is so huge. Also, is using other people's names. That's something we didn't mention, but we have names. Let's use them. People like hearing their names. Plus, it's a respectful thing to do.
I would think that the repeat add exercise would work well in text form, because it's a very explicit acknowledgement of the previous statement, and then allows you to add on to it. Correct?
Good, 100%.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, it can feel very risky to sort of enter some conversations, and I wanted to ask you really quick about the value of taking risks.
Oh yeah. I take more risks now because I've been improvising for so long, that the study and practice and performance of improv has really, I don't know, I'm not as risk averse I used to be. But for example, a couple of years ago, we had a university in Los Angeles considering having an improv for the people workshop on campus, and it was for like 30 scientists. And the person putting it all together was like, I don't know if they're going to be open to this, and how can they benefit. And we talked about risk. I said, what are the values of risk in science? What are the values of taking risk in science? And she lit up, and she's like, oh, we discovered things. We may fail, but we may succeed. I said, let's improv is all about taking risks. All the people that came up today, you took risks to come up and be with me and do these exercises that you had no idea what you're going to do. That's a small example of taking risks. There can be so much discovered by taking risks. By the way, I went and did the workshop with the scientists, and it was fantastic. So, calculated risks. The study and practice of improv can help us be more open to taking risks, because there can be good things on the other side. One thing I also want to say is the concept of yes and. I'm not suggesting that we walk through life saying yes to everything. There are times to say no. There are the right times to say no. This is not right. I'm saying no to this. I don't want anybody to be in our session today thinking, oh, Matt said I say yes to everything. Okay, I just want to put that out there for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, and lastly, I think improvisation is something we often think of as show that we go see, with some friends and a few drinks, and we think improv has to be funny, and that's why maybe a lot of us are scared of it, because there's a pressure to be amusing or entertaining. But at least what I've observed from all of these exercises with non-performers is that improv is actually a lot about listening and responding, and the funny sometimes just comes out of the moment when you're not thinking about it. So it's best to not pre-plan and just be in the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot. I couldn't have said it better, Sasha. There's obviously value being prepared and being prepared for meetings, prepared for projects. We want to be prepared, but also just being open to other people. One of our colleagues here had mentioned that earlier in our time together. Being open to what other people have to say without coming into a situation with my way or the highway. Someone else might have a good idea, and just being open to that. But yeah, that's why we opened Improv for the People. It's a great art form for everybody, and we don't come to be funny. Oftentimes it's funny because we're creating things on the spot, but it's through good listening and collaboration. That's why we enjoy it so much.
Right. Well, I want to thank you for being here, Matthew. I know that if folks wanted to hire Improv for the People or get in touch with you, they're able to contact the Prestige account manager. So I encourage all of you watching to do that if you want to get in touch with Matthew. And Matthew, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, and also for really expanding the way we do these webinars, because all this improvisation and all this participation has been a whole lot of fun.
Honestly, thank you, Sasha. I have enjoyed it very, very much. I think you guys are awesome. Thanks for taking the time. Thank you so much.
Well, we hope to see you again. Come up with some new exercises for us.
You got it. That's a deal.
All right. Take care, Matthew.
Bye-bye.
Well, I want to remind again, everybody, if you do have questions or want to learn more about Improv for the People, contact your Prestige account manager. And if you're all loving these sessions with us, on March 13th, we're going to be doing the partnership playbook, working with destination organization experts with Emily Scheiderer from Destinations International. So be sure to join us on March 13th for that. And of course, if you are loving these webinars or not, if you have feedback, if you've got questions, if you have ideas for other subjects, we are looking to fill out the rest of our year and coming up with a lot of great ideas, and always listening to yours. So please scan this QR code for the full schedule to see what's coming up, and of course to get in touch with us. Thank you all for being here. It's been wonderful to be with you. Thank you for being patient with all of our with all of our little snafus, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Till then, I'm Sasha Andreev. See you on March 13th.